Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone's doing okay. Today, I wanted to kind of discuss how sacrificing in your early years can lead to a much more fulfilling and early retirement. A lot of people, just in my circle and stuff like that, they're baffled as to how someone like me can retire early and how anyone can really retire early. And all it takes is a little bit of common sense. It obviously takes planning and just thinking things ahead of time and just kind of understanding how much you spend on a daily basis for a lot of the different habits and different things that you do in your life and how it actually can accumulate to thousands and sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars over the span of years, decades, and for sure, 40, 50 years, a huge chunk of your life. If you're spending money on crazy habits, it'll bite you in the ass and you will not retire early if you're just dependent on a regular paycheck. So let's get into it. So one of the habits that I have and millions of Americans, Canadians, and people across the world have is eating out. We all love to eat out, right? We love when someone takes care of us, they seat us, they cook for us. We like trying different cuisines from different nationalities. It makes perfect sense. But if you're doing this on a daily basis or bi-weekly, have you ever considered how much that adds up to be? Especially with inflation now, you're spending at least $30. Well, just think about it this way. If you're going out for a Subway here in Vancouver with a drink, it's almost $20. So that's just for fast food. If you're going out for a nice meal, it's going to cost you at least a minimum of $30. So if you're doing that just once per week, 30 times 4 weeks in a month is $120 per month you're spending on eating out just for you, not you and your wife, not you and if you have children as well, 2 children. So you're easily spending $120 every time you go out for a family of 4 to eat. That's for one time. So if you do that 4 times, what the hell is that? 12 times 4. So that's, can you imagine this number already? It's $480. If you go out, that's right? 12 times 4, 48. So $480 $480. $480 will cost you if you go out and eat with the family once per week for you, your wife, and your 2 kids. Not alcohol, just a regular $30 meal. And that's not even including a tip most of the time. So you're spending almost $500 per month just going out once a week for a family. So you add that up. So what's $500 times 12? Guess how much that is? $6,000 here in Canada. I know in the States you're probably looking at maybe $5,000. Still expensive per year. Do that on 10 years. $50,000. If you do that for 40 years, so 50 times 4, $200,000 if you do that for 40 years. If you're going out to eat with your family once per week, isn't that incredible? That's just eating out once a week. You got people who go to work and they eat out constantly. I'm talking every single day. They go out for lunch and sometimes so if you're going out for lunch every day and then you're going out once a week with your family for dinner, and that's minimum. A lot of people go out at least eating twice per week with the family, and that you're looking at $1,000 almost per month. So you're looking at $12,000 a year. 10 years, it's $120,000 in 10 years. Pretty crazy stuff. I think I did those numbers right. Close to it anyways. So that's just incredible when you start adding up these things. And then people wonder, well, how come I can't retire early? Well, one of the main reasons is a lot of people like to eat out. I'm guilty. I'm just saying, I'm not pointing the blame and blaming all of you guys. I'm just explaining how wild it is and expensive it is to eat out once you start actually adding it up. And once you're starting adding up on a yearly basis and decades and then in 40 years, it really goes wild. Pretty insane, isn't it? Another thing people like to do, I don't really do this nearly as much, and I don't think people do this nearly as much as they used to, is going out to the movies. And it depends on where you're going for the movies, what kind of seating. You got those up here in Canada, you got those places where you can actually, they're over 18 where they got you can order, they basically have a waitress serving you. You can get alcohol, you can get a hamburger, you can get a full meal while you watch a movie. So that'll easily, if that's you and your wife, you're easily gonna spend like $100 there, especially if you're putting in booze. Regular movie is probably about $15. So even if you just go to those, that's like $60 for the 4 of you. Once again, $60 times, you're going once a week, 6 times 4 is $240 times 12. Well, 12 times, it's about a little over $2,500 per year just watching a movie once a week. just a harmless family activity, right? And it is harmless, but it's expensive when you add it up over a decade, or obviously 40 years, or even a year. Thousands of dollars you spend on entertaining yourself. And I'm not saying not to entertain yourself, but there's ways to do it without breaking the bank. You could easily do that at home. You can easily watch Netflix, right? That's a little cheaper, obviously. You can also download other apps like Tubi, Tubi, and they got tons of movies on there. The app is free. You can get it on your phone, you can download it on your computer, you can download it on your smart TV, and you can watch countless, not only movies, but older television shows, and there's so much stuff, and that's completely free. You don't even need to pay for it. So you don't even need Netflix, so you can cut out movies and save a ton of money, cut out Netflix and save a ton of cash, and all that money you can use to retire early. It's not the small things that matter, but it's the small things that matter in large amounts, as in time. You do a small thing over time and it accumulates. It's like a snowball effect. Compound spending, where you're spending small amounts, but over 10 years, 20, 30 years, definitely adds up into the thousands of dollars, right? This is another one where a lot of people probably spend money, some more than others. Drinking, as in having a glass of wine, and you got people, they drink beer. Well, if you're having beer, I don't even know how much beer is. I don't really buy it anymore. I think it's about, well, if you're buying a craft beer, I know 4 or 6 of them is almost like $20 now. Once again, inflation has destroyed the purchasing power of all forms of entertainment. On top of food, on top of mortgages, it's destroyed everything, right? Our purchasing power has gone down 20-30%, which is pretty crazy when you sit there and think about it. So you're drinking, if you're spending $20, you get, or even a case of beer is probably $30 now. You're doing that every week. 30 times 4, $120 a month. So you do that in 12 months, it's over $1,400 just on buying cases of beer. If you're buying alcohol, $30, $40 for the harder stuff like, bourbons and tequilas and stuff like that. If you're spending wine, well, that's all over the place, and that can easily add up. Then you got the other people who are doing drugs. Well, and cigarettes. So let's talk about cigarettes first. A pack of cigarettes in Canada, it's almost $20 a pack. So if you're smoking every single day, holy geez, are you spending a lot of money? 20 times 7, it's $140 per week times 4. It's I can't even do the math off the top of my head, but it's just under 300 minus $40. So it's about $260 a month. So in a year, it's over $2,400 easily you're spending on one pack of cigarettes per day. So super expensive. And if you do that over your lifetime, that's why you're not going to retire early, when you have all these weird habits that are not beneficial to your health. You're burning through your retirement savings, smoking, and deteriorating your health. So it's crazy. Then you got the other people doing drugs, smoking marijuana, and people doing illegal drugs, very expensive. And once you start getting into crazy drugs like cocaine and stuff, then it gets super pricey. And I don't condone any of that stuff. I don't do it. I never tried it. I never will. But just looking at the numbers, you can drain through your life savings in no time if you get into hard drugs, for sure, obviously, right? But this is where a lot of people spend their money. They blow through their money, and then by the time they're 60 years old, they're still renting, they still own absolutely nothing, and then they got to work past retirement because they've partied their whole lives and they've blown it on complete garbage. It adds up really fast when you sit there and crunch the numbers, trust me. Another thing people do is buy new cars, or they pay monthly, or they're leasing cars. Super expensive, and it's almost it's kind of like a small mortgage back in the day. Some people spend up to $1,000 a month leasing cars or doing payments on their cars. If you can't afford to pay for it in cash, or mostly in cash, then don't buy it. I've never purchased a new car in my life, ever. I've always bought it at least 4 years old. 50,000 kilometers or under. It's like having a brand new car without the brand new price tag. So that's how you can save a lot of money. And you can get even cheaper cars if you get up into 6, 7 years old. And a lot of people are, how about the warranty, this and that? Well, if you're purchasing Japanese cars like Toyotas and Nissans and Hondas, well, they last forever, right? The parts are cheap, they run forever, so you're going to save yourselves a lot of money. A lot of people just want to indulge. I understand that. I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else at all, but I'm just saying that it can get super expensive when you start thinking about it. If you want to retire early, you have to get into the habit of figuring out where you spend your money and cutting off those tentacles as soon as possible. And I'm not saying telling you to live like a hobo. Far from it. Just don't spend money where it's unnecessary. Do you really need to have a BMW that you're having payments of $1,000 per month on like an X5 or whatever it is, or a Mercedes? Do you really need to do that? You know they don't perform much better than Hondas. The best performing vehicle is actually a Lexus, Toyota, right? So Toyota in general, Lexus is the higher brand version. So you don't even need a Lexus. You can get away with buying a used Toyota that'll last you forever. But I know it's all about the prestige, and it's all about how you feel and what your neighbors think when you're rolling out of your driveway in that new Mercedes. Well, you got to figure out, do you want to retire early and have money in the bank, or do you want to work until 65 and maybe keep on working because you want to impress people who you don't even know? You got to pick one, because you can't have both. Another thing people do, and I've done this in the past, but I'm pretty aware of what I'm doing, is buying expensive clothes. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying nice clothes, but why don't you buy them at locations where they're cheaper? Go to Ross in the States, Marshalls in the United States, go to Winners here in Canada. You can go to the outlets. We have outlet malls here in Vancouver. There's outlet malls all over the United States that have brand names for much cheaper than you would pay by going to the actual store. They got Boss there, they got Polo, what they got Guess there, all kinds of different brands, right? High-end brands, Lacoste, and you're spending less than you would at a regular version of their store. Or even better yet is just buying cheaper no brand stuff at Walmart. Like, it depends. You can have some nice stuff, but if it's just jogging pants and regular t-shirts, why are you spending $40 on a t-shirt? Go to Walmart and spend $10 and get a t-shirt to work out then. There's so many ways to save money, but most people simply don't think about it. And by the time it's too late, well, it is too, by the time you try to figure out, it's too late, right? You're like 50, 60 years old. You're wondering what the hell you're going to do. How are you going to retire early, or how are you going to retire at all? Well, you blew all your money on expensive clothes. And this is more for the ladies, but I know the guys like to do that as well. Those handbags and stuff like that, Louis Vuitton purses, they're not even made out of leather, they're vinyl. So spending $3,000-$4,000 on a Louis Vuitton bag is crazy. Just think about it. All you're doing is you're spending money to have a French guy's name connected with you on that purse. That's all it is. It's a guy's name. That's all I'm going to say. It's kind of crazy. Another one I should have talked about previously is cable. Get rid of your cable. Do you really need to watch the news, that negative news? Do you know that most of your local news stations actually put their news on YouTube? You can get the local news on YouTube for completely free. Or you can just watch it on your phone, because if you go to their website, they have all the news that are waiting for you for free. So cut your cable, snip it, and you'll save a lot of money there. And then you can either, you got the internet, you got a smart TV, you got the streaming internet services, you can save a ton of cash. So cut the cable and you'll save thousands of dollars per year. Another thing people do is they spend a ton of money on trips. And this is a place where when you start digging online, you can save a lot of money using websites like hotwire.com. And there's so many different sites where you can basically get the best deals possible just from digging around. You don't have to spend a lot of money to have a good time. And another way to save money on trips is not to go during peak seasons if you can. Go when the crowds aren't there, and you're going to save a ton of cash. You'll spend sometimes even 50% less compared to when the crowd is going. So you got to think outside the box if you really want to retire early. It's not hard, but you got to get in the mindset of trying to save money instead of just not thinking about things. Because when you don't think about anything, you're burning through money left and right. It's crazy how much money you spend when you're not actually paying attention. And I know a lot of people, they spend a lot of money, not a lot of people, but I know people who spend money on gym memberships. Some people have 2 or 3 memberships and they're still overweight. They're not going to the gym. They're spending money on the gym, but they're not actually going to the gym. See, a lot of people think that if you buy a membership, you're automatically going to lose weight. And obviously that's not the case. You have to use the membership, and there's no point having 2 or 3 memberships. You're not going to lose weight faster, especially if you're not going. So try to find the cheapest membership plan you can get and use it. And if you're not using it, if you don't feel like going to the gym, then cancel it. Why are you spending $10 or $15 per month for the last 4 years on a membership that you're not using? And there's so many people that do that. Oh, it's only $10. I don't want to cancel it. Well, how about make it $0 and maybe go for a walk for free if you want to work out. If If you don't want to work out, don't even spend money on the membership. There's no point, right? It's just crazy. That's another area that you can cut down on costs super quickly. So these are just some of the different methods that I use to pay attention to where I'm spending my money. I'm not saying I follow them all the time religiously, but I definitely follow them quite a bit of the time, and I'm always basically aware of where my money is going as much as possible, right? Because I don't like to blow money on stuff I don't need to. And I'm not saying I live like a hobo, like I said, but I do pay attention, and it does save me thousands of dollars per year. And in the end, if you're doing all of these different things, saving money on all the different factors I've spoken about, you're going to save thousands of dollars, like hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. And you're going to eat healthier. You're not going to have health issues if you're not smoking and drinking. And, other things like cable, you cut that out. You're going to save money there. The gyms, the cars, the clothes. There's a lot of money to save if you really want to do it. And you're not really going to miss that much. You think you're going to miss that much, but once you cut them out and you kind of forget about it, you don't really miss that much, but you will gain a lot. Once you see your bank account going up, it almost becomes addicting to all the money you can save. It's pretty cool, it's fun, and the benefits outweigh the spending of all your money on absolutely nonsense stuff that you really don't need to be doing. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, and have a great day.